Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast, where we celebrate the power, brilliance, and resilience of women everywhere. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington. Join us as we share inspiring stories and insights from extraordinary women who have found their voice and are making a difference. Together, we'll create a ripple effect, illuminating the path to visibility and empowerment. Let's break barriers, shatter ceilings, and lift each other up. In each episode, we dive deep into the journeys of women who have turned their challenges into triumphs and their dreams into reality. Whether you're looking for motivation, guidance, or a community that understands your journey, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and remember, let your voice shine. And just like that, I'm back like I never left. I am Shanasia Watson, your fabulous host of the Her Voice Shines podcast, streaming from the beautiful city of Houston, Texas. And y'all know I always say this is one of my favorite places to be. I'm super excited about my guest. I think she's going to bring the energy. We've already had a little pre-show on the back, so you already know that it's going to be full of energy. She's doing a lot of different things. But guess what? I always have to stop myself so I get a little bit excited. It's her voice shine. So we have to let her come to the stage and let her voice do just that. Without any further waiting time, you know the drill. She comes to the stage, tells us her name, where she's streaming from, and guess what? She jumps right into that story, and here she is.
Hey, what up, everybody? I am Vitelle. Oh my gosh. I am an actress, model, writer, producer, director. Yes, I got to come with the energy because I do so many things. I love the intro. First of all, thank you for having me on your show. This is so amazing. I love the energy. I love everything that you're doing. I don't really like to talk about myself, but that's what I got to do for the next couple of minutes. So I'm going to give you guys the highlights, right? I'm going to start with the highlights because obviously, you know, being an actress, being a model, being in the entertainment industry for more than 20 years now, it's been amazing, an amazing journey, right? But what people don't see in the forefront is that I have been through a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I went through a lot of trauma to get to where I am today. I have, you name it, I've probably gone through it. I consider myself often the poster child for trauma. But the good news is that I have managed to overcome, to heal from so much, to come through so many things. And thank God I don't look like what I've been through, right? And not only that, but I am using my story and my testimony to shine a light on on the realities that we're dealing with in this world today. The reality is, trigger warning, there are so many lives lost to suicide, with depression running rampant, even homelessness, like all these things that are going on in the world, abuse, domestic violence, you name it, I have probably been through it. And so now I'm able to tell my story and communicate it through the form of entertainment, using my gifts and talents in order to get that message across that it is possible to heal. It is possible to overcome. It is still possible to live your best life, regardless of what you've been through, to follow your dreams, to make it happen. That's what I'm doing every single day. And it's so exciting now to be able to look back on all that I've come through, all that I've overcome, and to be able to put it into a story and package it into just this beautiful package that only God-given gifts could do, right? So I'm also a published author, public speaker. I speak everywhere in the world on these traumas. I'm coming to y'all live, by the way, from Orlando right now, by way of Atlanta, based out of Atlanta, Georgia. But I'm in Orlando right now, down here, marketing and promoting my book, which I was about to say my new book, but it's not necessarily new anymore. But this is my book, I Am a Poetic Ensemble. It's available on Amazon. It is just changing lives everywhere I go. And it's just my story. It's written in poetry form. It's a book of healing. It is also a self-help book. So I put information in the back of it where I talk about how to overcome these things if you've been through them, if you've experienced them. So I'm just doing everything just with this package that I'm presenting to the world. So traveling full time. I have a one-woman show called 9 Lives that goes along with the book. And I'm traveling with that show right now. The next show is coming up in Atlanta. I'm so excited about that, but I'm available I can be booked anywhere in the world for this show now. Y'all got my passport. So I'm so excited to now be not just national, but global at this point. My team is growing, us 3 productions. We are taking the world by storm with just the message of healing. That's what it's all about. The talent, the entertainment, all of that stuff is there, and it's great for people to enjoy. But at the end of the day, if you don't leave with something much bigger than just being entertained, something that's really going to change and transform your life, then what are we doing this all for, right? So I'm so excited to be just a living testimony every single day, walking on this journey. Every day that I wake up, like, God, how would you like to use me today? And here I am. So I'm just so grateful to be here. And that pretty much wraps up, me, and we'll put a bow on it, right? So thank you so much again for the opportunity.
Now, Vitelle, I tell my guests, they always say, "Oh, that's it. I got a bow to put." It's never no, it's never it. And we find out that these conversations really, I like what you said to kind of tie into what I was going to say is that, they see this beautiful model, this actress, but there is so many stories behind Vitelle, stories of resilience, stories of power. So that's specifically why this platform was created. And when I was reading your intake form, I'm like, Vitelle, you got like about 20 stories that you can tell easily.
Right.
Yeah, based on what I researched. I want to ask you, I know that you had many touch points with trauma, and I gathered.
Right.
Homelessness was one of them, and you brushed over it briefly in your introduction. I want you to walk us through that period, because sometimes people see this product, and it's beautiful and it's traveling around. Talk to us about that journey of homelessness and really, really what you kind of got out of that, because I tell people all the time, sometimes that trauma is what changes us quickly, because we get to see the world very quickly through a different lens. So can you talk about that for us?
It definitely causes you to experience a lot of growth very quickly. That just jump into the next dimension of your life can often happen through trauma. And so, yes, I have experienced homelessness multiple times. I actually talk about it in my next book that's coming up, hint, hint. And also the stage production that I've done, The Face of Homeless. I've done it multiple times, about 13 times, I believe, in different cities. But I talk about how the transition happened from being homeless as a child. I remember living in a shelter, and I just remember it being fun. It wasn't traumatizing really at all. Like, I didn't understand from my point of view as a child how difficult it may have been for my mother going through that with children, until I became an adult and I became homeless with my own children. So I was actually living in the car with my 2 kids while I was married. This was many years ago. My kids are 17 and 18 now, my 2 oldest, and they were like around 3, 4, and 5, around those ages. So we went through living in the car for, I want to say it's about a year. It's really hard to track the time, because when you're in the situation, it can seem like it's taking forever to get out of it. But we went through the cycle of homelessness from, the living in the car part obviously was one of the hardest, but then to staying on people's couches, or to renting rooms, or hotels, or, having churches put us up in hotels, and just different levels of it. And through that process, I found out so many things that I did not realize and wouldn't have ever known if I had not gone through it myself. There was so many instances in which we were not able to get help from places that we thought helped homeless people, places that we had supported with our own dollars and sponsorships and everything else. Like, then we need the help, and we're in the shoes on the other foot, but we're not able to get the help. So, like, the realization that the homeless system is just completely jacked up, and that is exactly what it is the homeless system, which is the name of my next book, shameless plug. But yeah, it's like it was such an eye opener, and it was just unbelievable that I didn't qualify for the help that I needed by being homeless. I had to either be on drugs, like having a drug problem, or an alcoholic, or something else that I didn't qualify. And so, just as a mother who was married, and a lot of things I didn't qualify for because I wasn't a single mom. So I learned through that process how to navigate the system, that you couldn't even be truthful and just ask for help. You had to tell them what they wanted to hear, I guess. And so it's just a whole system. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry that will unfortunately never end, but we can make an impact on it and put a dent in it and help people. And that's what I've been doing ever since I experienced that myself, is helping people to overcome and get out of homelessness, those who choose to and desire to do that, whether they qualify or not. That's my goal in life.
Oh, I love it. And what's something that stood out is that, you couldn't even truly talk about the help you needed without having to mask it, per se. based on what they needed. You know, that's kind of different. I'm sitting here in this lonely, stressful, whatever emotional place it is, and I can't even get the help I need, and I really need it.
Right.
I'm not putting on, I really need the help, and because I don't qualify for something alcoholic, I'm not on drugs. I just need the help. So that is very, very powerful. And I did see, like, you know, for you to have to kind of have the experience with homelessness as a child, and then it kind of comes almost full circle. You experience with your children kind of gave me chills, because sometimes those little remnants of our childhood, they show up in our adulthood and sometimes in our children's life. So I think about that all the time as I'm shaping my journey and my path with my son here in the house. I want to talk about this because you've touched a lot of different things. And I like to ask people this because I feel like I'm touching things, and it's always, I've never done this before. I just never, I don't really have the, you know, the network, the whatever. Talk about that, because I'm pretty sure you always face that, I've never done this before. Right. How do you get past that angst? Because this is what keeps people stopped, Vitelle. This is why this platform is important. This is what keeps them stopping and not going past to get what they're called to do and get what they're aligned to get from this earth. Talk about that feeling of, I've never done this before, but yet Vitelle does it.
Right. Yeah. It's always that fear that happens initially, especially when you're called to do something, because oftentimes when God calls us to do something, it'd be so much bigger than we can imagine or than we actually want to accept and journey on. And so, that fear was definitely there. And I think I had to just learn to start with what I had. Oftentimes the fear causes us to make excuses. We'll be like, oh, well, I don't have enough money yet. I don't have enough following. I don't have this and that. Like, I had to stop looking at what I did not have and focus on what I did have. I felt like God was telling me, use what's in your hands. And literally I looked down in that moment and my phone was in my hand. So it was in that moment I realized, okay, I don't have all this big camera equipment and all these lights and camera in action and all the stuff that I feel like I have to make movies and do what God's calling me to do. But I have my phone. And so I just started with what I had in my hand. And people are making movies on the big screen with just their phones, you know, something simple as that. But it's like, you don't realize just what you have access to. And you may not even have a phone. You may not have a computer. You may not have a car. Like, you may be limited in every single way, but there's always something that you have. If nothing else, you have a voice, right? And so just being able to use what you have and start to take steps forward in that, it starts to build the courage over time. Like, you got to start somewhere. The hardest part for me was really pushing publish on my book, you know, putting my whole story out there, like the real life story, regardless of what everyone else thinks and their points of view and their, you know, everybody has their own viewpoint and their own version of your story. And there's always that fear of, are they going to think this? Or they're going to say this? Yes, of course they are. And the bigger you get, the more they're going to say and think. But that's all the more reason that, you know, you're doing something right. You know, you're being successful. The more people that are talking, great. It's all publicity. You know, it's like, you have to really learn to overcome that. And then as you start to take those baby steps and move forward in what you know you're called to do, the confidence builds. The people come out of nowhere that are meant to support you. And the rest of them, they get quieter and quieter because they don't really matter at the end of the day. And in some ways they do, because you're encouraging them, whether they know it or not. But it's like, you keep doing what you're doing because of the people that are showing you, this is really helping me. This was amazing. This changed my life. You know, even something as serious as, I've gotten testimonies like people choosing not to commit suicide. That's like one of the things in the back of my mind. Anytime I feel that fear coming up, if I'm about to hit the stage or whatever, like, I think about that person, whoever that person is, because there's been many of them, right? And so I'm like, that person's life could depend on me. Like, that's more important to me than whatever fear I'm feeling of whatever consequence I think in my mind that could possibly happen, which half the time is not even real. The fear is not even real. So you have to ask yourself, like, what's really real? Like, what is really the worst that could happen here? And just go for it, because the risk of not doing it is so much greater than the risk that you could possibly take in going ahead and stepping forward.
Oh, I love it, because you have to play that game in your head, the balance of the risk. It's more riskier if I don't move. It's risky if I sit here and not figure it out. And I have to play those, I call them Jedi mind tricks, with myself all the time, Vitelle, to make sure that I'm walking in what I have to do, because it's always that feeling of unknown, that fear that tries to creep up. Yeah. So we have to talk about it more abundantly. So many women struggle with these things. So I said, well, we're going to have the conversation. We're going to have it the real way. so that people hear real life experience attached to these things that seem very cliche.
Right.
Now, here's something I have to go here with you with, because I know that you're growing. I know that you're moving and you're shaking, which I'm so proud and to see it. I'm honored that you're here. But let's talk about delegation. There's going to be, okay, I go look around, so I know what to ask.
Yeah, did your homework? You ain't playing.
You're gonna do a little homework now.
I love
it. Let's talk about this, Vitelle, because as you grow and you know it's a certain way that we like things done, and delegation is so paramount. I'm just telling you. But listen, I'm preaching to me too, so.
Okay, that's how it works.
Let's just be clear about why I'm saying this, all proud and stuff.
Right.
Delegation is paramount to our success, right? We know that we are going to scale. We're going to have to do different things, and we will have to delegate. We're not able to touch everything, and to be honest, we shouldn't want to. It's burnout, it's fatigue, it's a lot of different things that come with that. So I know as I'm looking at the trajectory and what's going to happen, Vitelle is going to have to step stronger into delegation. I'm just saying, Sinead too. So let me just put my name in. Talk about it, Vitelle. Where are you with trust and delegation? Talk it out and walk it out, because we have to have the conversation. We know that Vitelle is scaling, and we have to be true about this walking business.
Yes. So can you see the sweat beads? So I'm usually sweat in an interview, but listen, this topic right here, this is currently where I'm at and what I'm dealing with. We always at different levels of growth and stuff that we're going through. And the delegation part is exactly what I'm in the middle of right now. So it's like, whoo, how can you preach on something that you're literally going through right now? But I can tell you, from personal experience, it's been very difficult for me to transition into delegating. I literally just this past weekend, actually, I just brought on 20 new team members. So now we're at about 40 people that are a part of my production company. And just trying to figure out where everyone fits in, what their skills and strengths are. Like, I'm kind of just put it like I'm giving everyone an opportunity, and you come in and these are the opportunities that there are, and you find your place, kind of thing. So that's, starting somewhere, but understanding that this is just the beginning of the scaling part. And I'm going to have to take it to the next notch eventually. Like the team that I'm forming right now, and I tell them all the time, like, to keep them excited, like, you guys are a part of the foundation. Like, you have no idea what's about to happen, how this thing is about to blow up. You can only see a little brink of it, a little piece of it, right? So we're right at the brink of all of this stuff exploding, and this team that's coming in now is the foundation of it. So like, I have to get them to where they're handling everything, and they're in multiple different states. It's not just Georgia now. We've expanded outside of Atlanta, so I have people in different states now that I'm trying to manage virtually and all of this stuff. But eventually, those foundational people will be that team in that city. So I got Susie over here in Virginia. Now Susie's in charge of managing all those people. And then all those people might not ever reach me. But right now it's like the 40 people that I have now, they can contact me directly. They can reach me. And it's helping to not spread myself so thin, because I know that, like you said, I can't touch everything. I can't do all the work. So now, even with setting up my interviews, I have a whole assistant that she's just booking interviews back to back to back, right? So I just want to be able to show up and have someone else handle that. Whereas I'm normally the one that was managing my calendar and booking my interviews and doing all my things, right? So I have someone over here that's just booking the interviews. I have someone over here that's just booking like the trips and the all the out of country stuff and the sponsorship bookings that I have to go take pictures and do all those things. And so it's overwhelming, but like learning to just like trust the process and trust the team member that you bring on. Like, that's the hardest part, because I can say honestly, like, I've brought in more than 40 people over time, right? If I bring on 20 people, maybe 5 of them end up doing a good job and staying with us and being consistent and being motivated and driven, right? Because that's what I need. I need all of them to be like that. I can't expect them to be like me, because they're not going to be as passionate about my baby as I'm passionate about my baby. So, but I have to like keep them pumped and keep them motivated and keep being productive and showing them the productivity, so they can see, like, if I can do this, you can do this too. I want all my team to do this. I want all my team to experience financial freedom and all of these things and make a difference in the world. And like, I'm constantly feeding them that, and I have to maintain a level of excitement myself to keep them excited about it. And then on top of that, expect them to actually do the job right. It's like, it's so much that goes to it. I could go off on a tangent about that, but it's really just, at the end of the day, for me, I have to trust the process, and I'm constantly in prayer about it, because as the Bible says, the harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. Like, the people that I give the opportunity to aren't always willing to work. There's not as many people willing to put in the work as there is abundance out there, right? And so I just pray constantly, like, Lord, just send the right people. And that's beginning to happen more and more, and just being able to see it right away, whether they are for me or whether they're just here out of curiosity or whatever other reasons they could possibly be here. Like, I'm starting to pinpoint the people that are for me, and as those people get more and more, and we grow, and I begin to trust them more over time, then, I'm like, I'm just let them do their job. Now I'm to the point, like with my personal assistant, if people contact me trying to book me for an interview, I'd be like, this is who you talk to about that. I don't do that. Like, I just have to take my hands out of it, and that's difficult to do because I am just getting rolling, with this part of it. And so people are used to being able to reach out to me. And so I have to pull back, though, like, it's necessary. And there is a little bit of fear of like, oh, people are going to think, oh, she thinks she's brand new, she don't remember where she came from and all this stuff. Like, you're going through that process. That's but it's just a necessary process, and that's going to happen. But the people who understand you and are for you are going to stick around, and the rest of them are going to weed themselves out. And just trusting that part of the process is a big deal. Like, that's where I'm at right now, and it's working so far, so good.
So we're in similar places. Trusting the process is good. And what I took the most out of this segment is something it's literally in my prayers every day. Mm-hmm. Send me the right people.
Yes, right people.
Send me the right people. I'm not going to jump the gun. I'm going to, be careful in this thing. But I send the right people. And I can honestly say, since I have been dedicated in that prayer, it's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Even with this very thing that we're doing right now, send me the right people. Send me the people that I can facilitate the conversations with. He will do just that thing.
Exactly. So it's so tempting to like want to give the opportunities to the people that you love. Like, I'm gonna invite my best friend to do this. I'm gonna get my sister on him. Like, they're not always supposed to go with. That's the hardest part. Oh my gosh, I'm speaking to somebody. Like, that is the hardest part for me to understand, that I can't take everybody with me. Like, everybody's not meant to go where you're going, and you have to be able to gracefully let them go and be like, I love you, but this journey ain't for you. Like, it's so hard to do. You just want to give the stuff to the people that you love, and you can't always do that. So
now, if I tell you, didn't tell me I was gonna have to get an offering bucket. Do I need to get an offering? I didn't know. I was trying to see if I had a bucket around here, because I didn't know if I needed to pass it. Okay, Vitelle, I'm ready.
Man, I'll be knowing what I'm gonna say when I get on here. Like, I just be like, tell me what to say, Lord.
It's good, because that is a constant struggle, right? You want those core people, that team, but he didn't give the vision to them, right? You have to understand that it's your vision, it's your walk, and they are called and allowed to do whatever it is he has for them to do. Right. And I always remember that. But it's definitely a hard thing, because you want to bring the whole team, but many people, I mean, if you can go around and talk to them, some of the most successful people that you deem to be the most successful, they're going to tell you this part of the journey. Exactly. And that's something that I'm definitely learning myself. So let me ask you this, Vitelle, because you've done a lot of different things. The modeling, you work with the Tyler Perry plays. You've done a lot of different things, which I think is very, very noteworthy. Writing books. Is there any particular work? I'm pretty sure you probably like it all to some extent, but is there any particular part of that work that stands out as your favorite type of work to do? Maybe it's one that provides you the most escape. But of all the things that you do, is there anything that stands out as your favorite?
That is a difficult question, because I do enjoy everything. Like, I try not to do anything at this point that I don't enjoy doing. I really had to pull back on a lot of things. Like, okay, am I really called to do this? Do I really enjoy this? And question that. So now I'm to the point where I do just enjoy everything I'm doing. I think it just depends on where I'm at the moment. Like, acting, like, I still act in other people's projects. A lot of times people think like, You've been all successful in all these movies. I've had over 50 movies that I've done and worked with everyone from Tyler Perry to Jeremy Renner. I've done all these things, and they think that I've stopped doing that, and now I'm just focusing on Us Three Productions and my business. Well, I am focusing mostly on that because I know that's what I'm called to do, but I am still available for booking for other projects. And sometimes that can be the best escape, because over here where I have my production company and all these things that I'm responsible for and that reflect on me at the end of the day, if they fail, then that's on me. It's like, that's a lot of pressure. So to just show up as just an actress and be on somebody else's set and scenes and just have them doing the lightings, somebody else is responsible for all of that stuff, and I just got to show up and get my script down back and do my part. Like, that is kind of an escape at this point, because it's not as much responsibility, as much pressure. And that's something that, I'm so confident in that arena that I know I can just show up. Like, people have called me to do a play the next day because they know, oh, she can memorize that script overnight. And I will. Like, when I cram, it happens that way. And so I come ready and I'm confident in that, and I just show up. And that's all I got to do is show up as that character, whoever it may be, just soak that person in and show up as them. And there's really no pressure or responsibility for it to be perfect, especially on a film set. You can always say cut and redo it if you mess up, stuff like that. So that's my favorite as far as the escape part of that question that you asked. But as far as the most exciting is probably showing up in stage productions, because there is no cut and you just got to do it and wing it, and you never know what to expect, and it's going to be different every single time. And so that's like the most exciting part. So I guess if you had to give just one answer to that, it would be actress. That's my first job and my first love. And so that's still my greatest exciting passion right there.
I love that. And you say on those opportunities where you can just show up, let me just do the job and get out of here. Oh, okay.
Like, I don't have to do no editing. I don't have to direct nothing. Like, none of this. Just show up and act.
I love it. Now, we cannot leave the space without you telling our listeners, our viewers, where to connect with you. We know that you have a book out. You said it before. We know it's available on Amazon. Just restate the name again and just give us some good, solid contact information, even for booking, so that they have that for themselves.
Absolutely. So I've made it really simple for you guys. All you have to do is go to www.vitelle.net. My name is spelled Vitelle.net. I try to put everything right in one place, so make it easy for you to find me. On all my social media platforms are right there. You can subscribe via email. You can even text me at 770-626-5075 if you want to subscribe via text. That way you know when the book's released. I always send everything out early ahead of time to the people who have subscribed, so they'll be the first to know before I even release it on social media. The next book release, the next show, all of those things going on. My current book right now, again, is I Am a Poetic Ensemble. You can actually get a copy on my website as well if you want to get a signed copy directly from me. Can't do that on Amazon, right? So you can do that on my website as well. And of course, tickets to whatever shows I have coming up, my show 9 Lives, The Face of Homeless, and many, many more to come. Make sure you subscribe at Vitelle.net and follow me on all your social media platforms.
Oh, I love it. Now, Vitelle, are you coming to Houston, Texas anytime soon?
Absolutely. Actually, I've been requested there a few times lately. So yeah, I'm going to make sure that I make a trip there. That's definitely on the list.
Okay, now Vitelle, you call me now.
You just added one of my reasons to that. Now I got to add you to the list of reasons that I need to come to Houston, Texas.
So. Come to Houston, Texas, Vitelle. We would love to welcome you here in the city. And don't worry, I'll be looking around. I'll be spying on my guests and stuff. I'm gonna look around and see, so I know when the next book's dropped. But this is a part in our episode, Vitelle. We cue to you for your final thoughts. And I tell the guests, if someone was to look at this and they just see this one part, give us something that embodies Vitelle and just really, really some great parting words for this episode.
Man, parting words. So we touched on so many amazing things in this episode. I feel like a lot of gems were dropped. Sometimes they just come out of nowhere, right? But I think the biggest one that I really felt as I was saying it during this episode is that fear aspect. Like, every single one of us deal with it on every single level. I have met people, Oscar winners, Emmy Award winners, and people who can tell you honestly behind the scenes that they still have that they deal with. Who would have thought that someone like Beyonce, for example, before they hit the stage, has this nervous feeling of what will they think. We all get that, and no matter what level we are in our careers or in our life or in our levels of success. So don't be afraid of that. Like, just embrace it, take it, bottle it up, turn it into the power that you use, the energy that you feed off of in order to just go for it. Don't be afraid, because at the end of the day, the only thing that's guaranteed to any of us is that at some point our lives will end, right? Not to sound morbid, but that's the reality of it. Like, at some point we will reach the end of our life, and we will be the only one that's there to say, what did I do with my life? So no one else has to answer to God but us for our own life. So don't let what other people are thinking, how they feel about what you're doing and how you're doing it, don't let any of that deter you or help you make your decisions whatsoever, because at the end of the day, you're the only one that has to answer for the life you've lived. So wake up every single day, take advantage of every single moment, and live your best life to the fullest. Walk in purpose and just keep doing it no matter what.
Them some fire words. She said, you're accountable for your journey. And you remember that. So Vitelle, we have to honor you in this place and give you roses for even being here, for showing a beautiful story of triumphant victories and resilience. I think that you're amazing. Everyone that's out here watching and that the Her Voice Shines, whether you're viewing or listening, we want to thank Vitelle for being here. And I tell you, I never leave the space. So I tell you that I love you, and to remember to let your voice shine, because transformative things happen when you speak it out of your mouth. Until next time, I'll be back with another amazing episode of the Her Voice Shines podcast. And we're out.